Hi guys, welcome to jQuery UI 101, The Essentials. My name is Dan Wellman, and in this course we're going to take a look at every single widget that the library ships with. We're just going to look at the fully released widgets though, of which there are still a considerable number. We won't look at widgets that are still in the beta or planning stages, as there are loads of them, and the APIs are still subject to change. jQuery UI is the official UI library for jQuery, and the project has matured considerably over the last few years. It's a library of widgets, interaction helpers, utilities, and effects. But as I mentioned, in this course we're just going to look at the widgets and a couple of the utilities. The interaction helpers and effects will be looked at in a follow-on course. The current version of the library at the time of production is 1.10.1, which is pretty awesome because it means that it's fully compatible with jQuery 1.9 and doesn't require the compatibility plugin. One point to note, however, is that IE6 is no longer supported. Hopefully this won't affect many people. I'd certainly like to think it won't. If you are still supporting IE6, I think you probably have bigger problems than a lack of support for the latest jQuery UI. So with version 1.9 of jQuery UI, we saw the release of several brand new widgets, including the menu, the spinner, and the tooltip. As well as these new widgets, we've also had stability improvements, bug fixes, and accessibility enhancements. The remaining widgets, which we'll be looking at individually and in detail over the course, are accordion, autocomplete, button, date picker, dialog, progress bar, slider, and tabs. As I mentioned, we'll also be looking at a couple of the utilities that ship with the library, including the position widget, which is used to position any element anywhere relative to another element, and also QUnit, which is jQuery's official test suite. A number of widgets make use of the position utility internally, and it's only fairly recently, in release 1.8, that this utility has been converted into a separate plugin that can be easily used by end developers. I mentioned that some of the widgets have had accessibility improvements. If you're concerned with accessibility, then you can be reassured with jQuery UI. All widgets are fully keyboard navigable and contain semantic elements that come with the appropriate ARIA attributes for assistive technologies. As well as the library itself, we also have two very important resources, namely Theme Roller and the Download Builder. Theme Roller is an excellent application that allows us to either choose from a growing catalogue of pre-made themes or create entirely custom themes either from scratch or by taking an existing theme and modifying it. We'll look at Theme Roller in more detail towards the end of the course. The build tool is pretty awesome too. It's a proper build tool, so when you select a component, any dependencies it has will also be included automatically. The main purpose of the build tool obviously is so that we can build a custom download of the library that contains only the components we wish to use. So this is pretty helpful. Before we close this introductory lesson, let's just take a moment to set up our project folder where we can store the files that we'll be creating. So we should first create a new directory somewhere and call it jQuery UI widgets. So I'm going to put it on my desktop here. So this will be our main project folder. And then inside this we can create some more folders. We'll create one called JS and another one called CSS. And we can now head over to the jQuery UI site and take a look at the download builder. So the library itself, we can download the latest stable version, which gives us everything we need, or we can head over to the download builder. So the download builder is where we can select the different components that we'd like to use. As you can see, there's lots and lots of them. So if we weren't going to use the whole library, we could untick them all first of all, and then we choose the widgets that we want to use. So, okay, let's just say, right, we want to use the button and maybe the tabs and a slider. If we go back up here, we can see that the dependent components have also been selected for us. So that's useful. This is how we build ourselves a custom version of the library to download. And we can also choose one of the pre-built themes here, and that will come down with it. So we're not actually going to use this today. We're just going to grab the whole library. So let's just go back to the main page and we'll just download the latest stable. And what we want to do now, we've still got our folder here that we set up just a minute ago. So if we go into the archive that's downloaded, we'll need a couple of files from here. We can grab the whole theme. So by default, the theme we're using is smoothness. So we just copy the whole smoothness folder into our CSS folder. And now if we go into the JS folder, then we can see we've got the latest version of jQuery, and then a couple of different versions of jQuery UI. So there's a normal one and a minified one. We'll just grab the minified one and we can copy these into our JS folder. So that's pretty much all of the setup that we have to do. We're now ready to use jQuery UI, and we shall begin doing so in the next lesson, in which we'll be covering the accordion widget. Thanks for watching.